Oh, hi. Hello there. So here's the thing, y'all. I just made a commentary where I told my story about my creative origins, the attacks it came under, how my soul was ultimately crushed, and how the devil got to me, and through people who might have been unaware of what they were doing, destroyed what God put in me, and eventually destroyed my faith and my road to recovery and gaining back my dreams. Even though it was a little too late to, I missed the bus a long time ago, and I got back on track, and I eventually found my way, and God delivered the tools I needed. And I'm not the the tools, and the people were not tools. Also, the people and the beautiful souls who helped me on this. And after all that, and how much under attack the gifts God gave me have been, and how they were crushed down to dust for so long, and I ultimately just thought I was going to have to just and try to get through this thing called life and eventually die or kill myself. I had those, the devil put those ideas in my head a long time ago. I did not have a very nurturing upbringing. A lot of it was crushed out of me. But, finding my, regaining, getting back on my spiritual path and finding God, finding Jesus, finding salvation. It's been a work in progress, and I feel like my spirit is being shaped every day of my life. I just went on for nearly an hour, and it was meant for a potential DVD special feature. I want to put it out there because I think my story, you might benefit from hearing my story, but it went on for near an hour. So I'm just going to really try to get to the point and say that I spent a long time being very angry. I used God's gift. I was told it was this bad, terrible thing. I was made to see the people who were trying to lift me up as liars because I was so confused. I was being told everything in me needed to be eradicated with pills, and I had problems, and I was horrible, and I was a disaster, and blah blah blah. And so I became very toxic, and I spent a lot of time as a young man hating the world, hating myself, and all I ever used this gift for was to do the devil's work, just being as vile and offensive and horrible as I could be. And I found my faith again in my 20s, and it's been a long road, and I have had a lot thrown at me just trying to achieve my dreams. And as I was completing this film, Decayed Network, um, first I'd just like to mention all the great help that God delivered to me, and everyone involved in this has been brilliant. And I'd love to name them all, but I just say, John, Miwa, Teddy, pardon me, Myron, just wonderful, great people. My brothers Drew, Bob, Mary, the best-selling author Scott Nicholson. I'm hoping Sleazy P. Martini gives me his green light for the literal toilet humor scene that I wanted to have him in, because I'm a big fan of Sleazy P. Martini. Did I mention the best-selling author Scott Nicholson, who is now doing the music project, The Pink Toys? I'm doing some more art for. I illustrated children's books for him many years ago. Just everyone who's helped. And yeah, that Hatfield family, just such a blessing. Ben was awesome. You could not ask for more in someone who's just into art and wants to make something shine. Um, but as and just it's like I said, I can't say enough about my daughter Emily. I didn't grow up in a nurturing environment. I was cut off from God's love for a long time, and that's what almost killed me. That's what put those suicidal ideas in my head and everything. And you know, I'm raising my daughter like just like what I put into the movie. I want to raise her with God's love, and I don't want her to be a clone. She is very creative and very gifted, and I'm not trying to shape her into a clone of myself. She is growing into her own amazing, brilliant person, and it's wonderful to behold. And she has been such a tremendous help, and just so great for this. I'm just so thankful, and even my role as a father, and getting to have this privilege of raising this amazing girl has just been it's meant so much to me. And Emily, if you're watching, that means you gotta be extra nice to daddy, and clean your room when I tell you to. Very bad joke. Anyway, as I was nearing completion on this movie, I've been Christian for a long time after walking a very dark path where I just tried to numb the crushing weight of a reality with a lot of cheap beer, and nurturing the ideas that at least I have an easy way out. Maybe once I start getting gray, I can just kill myself, because this world, I was not meant for this world, and everything, I was made to see everything inside of me is a curse instead of a blessing. And that was the devil working on me. And it's like, if the devil's getting at you and making you feel like it's hopeless, believe me, it's not. I do want to get to that point. The salvation of Jesus Christ became very clear to me. It was spoken into me only recently. I'm rhyming unintentionally, and it was a concept I always nurtured. I said that it makes a lot of sense. God was very obvious. Like, there is no denying that. I don't know the nature of salvation. And then at one point it was spoken into me, as it has been. I just awakened to an understanding. And it is God and Jesus talking to you. And I came to this realization. I said, it's the absolute truth. And a lot of us are born and raised Christian, have the blessing of being raised in that direction. We might stray away because I don't know at what point it will be spoken into you, but you need to open your eyes and your ears and your mind and your soul to receive the message, okay? Like, it can be spoken to you, but how it comes, I don't know. How it gets to you, but that's how it came to me. And I asked God, I said, I know this is another story about good and evil and a portal opening and evil stuff coming out and making all this weird, creepy, hopefully somewhat funny stuff happen in this household and to this family. But what's the theme? What is the point? And it just came to me like that. It said, well, salvation through Jesus Christ. I said, yeah, okay, all right, that's perfect. Because, I guess just getting to it is, no matter how you've been beaten down and how much you've been hurt and how imperfect your life has been, salvation is there for you. And I do want to say, if you open your heart to Christ and accept Christ, you will be saved. He is there for you and he loves you. Now, if you're doing the devil's work, if you are tearing other people down, if you are miserable and the devil has made you miserable and hurt you and you never recovered and the devil made a home inside of you and you are tearing other people down, you need to stop. Your salvation is still waiting for you. Now, if you are physically hurting people for fun, you're in big trouble. But you can stop right now and repent. I just want to, this is serious because there's a lot of people doing this here. And I don't know how many of those kind of losers are watching Decaying Network or my commentary. And I said this in the other one, so sorry if I'm repeating myself, but I want to stress this very much. I know people like that are probably not watching my movie. You're not cool enough. You're a piece of garbage. But if this message makes its way to you, which I hope it does, you're in big trouble. Because you might, it's like I say, you might not be about to die real soon, but you will die, and you can listen to the voices saying hell's not real, the devil's not real, God's not real, it's all pointless, it's all a joke, just get some kicks. That is the devil working on you, and he's having his way with you, and he's having a good laugh at how hard you are falling. So you need to crush your ego and get with God real quick. If you are stealing and hurting people and doing terrible things to other people that is hurting, just destroying things around you, you need to stop right now. If you're those women robbing that woman who was praying in church by saying you're praying with her while the other woman steals from her purse, you're in huge trouble, and you better make it right now, because there is still salvation for you. If you've been in combat and you've had to make hard decisions, you were in a position where you had to make real hard decisions, and you can't beat yourself up over that. You were fighting the enemy, and your salvation is still there. Don't let the devil tell you there's no salvation for you. Don't, because he's tried to tell me, hey man, your soul was already destroyed. You already gave up. You became a vile, nasty, blasphemous, horrible person, and that was real toxic and hard to be around. You're already done. What's the point? It's like, no, he is lying. Don't fall for it. And I really want to stress this point. If you hurt innocent, like really innocent, I'm talking like kids, animals, if you violate kids, if you torture animals, stuff like that, you're in huge trouble. And you might not be about to die real soon, even though I hope you do. I really hope you do. But you need to stop, and there is a chance for you. But I'm telling you, you keep up your wicked ways, and you are in big trouble, because the bad news for you is hell is real. And you will end up there if you don't stop messing off. And the forces of evil. I just say like good is really the place to be and the way to be, and you want to be that way, and you can, So that's what I wanted to share through this film. Is in the end, bad fails, ends up melting and turning to jello on the ground. I had a lot of fun making this film. I thank God for all the goodness and Jesus for the salvation. I hope this message finds you well, and all will be well. And I wish well even to the trespassers and everything, because I've forgiven. Because I can't be forgiving without I can't be forgiven without forgiving. And yeah, all is well. So keep on doing what God put you here to do, and do well. And even if you got art, have fun. Make some zombies if you want. I got nothing against it, but do it with the grace of God, which sounds ironic, but you know, it's kind of a wild place, I guess you might say. But do it right. I love y'all. Peace. God bless you. Bye.
Hello, everybody. I wanted to talk a little bit about the production of the film. For those of you watching the bonus feature, maybe you were wondering where the reflections on the actual creation of this film came from, and I stick by it when I realized that the absolute theme and dedication of this movie would be my own discovery of salvation. And, I say take it or leave it. I hope you take it, in particular if you feel lost or are hurting or confused. You will find a path. There are good voices out there, and stop listening to the bad ones. You know all that, and I hope this movie is an example of why you should take that into consideration. But for those of you who showed up wanting a little background story about the film, I will share some of that. I could go into great detail of how I've wanted to make film since I was a kid. I wanted to make various mediums. I was in love with music. I was kept from everything, every last thing. I could not have a keyboard. I could not have a guitar. I was kept away from everything. My art was thrown away, just everything. It was just all in making a movie. Forget about it. I did get a hold of my grandfather's camcorder one time, and I attempted. And even some of my friends, I'd try to get something going if they had some hookups or some gear, and they would pretty much every single time when it came down to it. It came to be the case with practically everything. As soon as I said, "All right, now we're all ready. Let's get the ball rolling," they'd find some excuse to not. And well, so it was a childhood dream since I was very little, and I always wanted to make a macabre, far out fantasy. I was just fascinated by concepts of aliens and the supernatural. Where do these dreams come from? Where do our spirits maybe interact with things outside of this limited physical plane, and all that good sci-fi stuff that always creep people out when I start talking about it. And anyway, so I mean, that was the theme. And yeah, fast forward to when I was 34. I met some amazing people who helped me make it a reality. Finally, we made a short little zombie film for fun, and from there, in the natural thing after that, I said, that was pretty easy to make a 22-minute film. A ridiculous film. Why don't we make a feature length? We should just make a movie. If you got that itch, I think you should at least try. If you're content with a short, I was not. I wanted an opus, and we did. And to this day, I'm very satisfied with Mossy Rock. The second Mossy Rock, it was called Old Mossy Rock, and to avoid confusion, I'll just point out now that they go to the old part of Mossy Rock, is why the sequel is called Old Mossy Rock. It's based on a town from my fiction, some of my novels and novellas, and I realized I couldn't make a ramshackle white trash town when we were filming in the house we were living in, which was newly developed and very very suburban, very yuppie. So the second one suffered a lot. It just came under complete attack wherever. There were some people that absolutely refused to help when I was trying to get things going. I mean, the people who showed up and helped, it was awesome. It was great. The people who did help, they were wonderful. It's just there were some wrenches thrown in there that really made the production suffer, if you want to call it that. Both those films were made in one weekend each, which is amazing. Editing, of course, was a long and tedious task. For the second one, my parents did come down and they watched my girl. So there was that, and I'll always be very appreciative it was just a complete mess outside of my hands. It just goes to show, some people, when you can help, you help, and some people just don't want to, and some of them just actually, just for some whatever reason, want to find a million reasons why you should not do what you want to do. I'd grown up with that. I was kind of used to it, and but this time I had a lot right. People were saying, "Where are you? When are we going to do this? We want to do this. We want to do this." I had to drive 5 hours. I had to, leave my toddler daughter behind, with my parents, of course, and so I was under a lot of stress for something that should not have been so stressful. But yeah, and I met the Sabo family, and I keep on, I've never heard them say their last name. We moved to Pennsylvania, and I met the Sabo family. To this day, for all I know, it's pronounced Sabo, but very good friends of ours who I've never heard them say their last name. And their family was a tremendous help, and I realized I just didn't have enough to make a full movie. I didn't. I mean, there weren't enough people getting on board, and I'd been watching Always Sunny in Philadelphia quite a bit. As well, I always watch Always Sunny because it's hilarious. But I said, let me do it in a show format. So altogether we did 8 episodes. A ninth bonus episode was just shorts that we'd done, and it's my daughter and her friends and the Sabo family helping me. And for what it was, we had a lot of fun. We did it. The latter episodes, I let the kids write them, and Emily and her friends write them. So it's just kind of loose and fun and silly. And then we moved to Ohio, and I'd had it eating at me. I said, I got to do another movie, one more movie, and then I'll get and. Okay, I'm getting to the point. I asked around quite a bit. There's one guy who does film reviews in Toledo, Ohio, which is not terribly far from me. I said, man, I could make this I could write a script, do a 2 weekend thing, play it safe, make a cheesy movie. He had a crew, and yeah, he did movie reviews for some of my favorite horror movies, and it's just I contacted, and this is what I do. I tried this in a couple areas where I just contact a person. I said, we apparently have similar interests, and maybe we can get the ball rolling on something. And I wrote him up and said, I love what you do. That's cool. You're in Toledo. I'm in Cincy. I'd like to send you my first film if you'd like to. And he wrote back, thanks, will do. I said, all right, never mind. And then there was another guy, this really buff former death metal dude, big time Christian, and I tried contacting him a couple times, and I started to realize I said that's a really long drive, and our conversation was not really picking up steam. I said, not something where I'm just like, hey, can I come visit your hood? You get your friends together. I'm going to direct you all in a movie. And I thought because I've always known, for that Christianity should be the underlining theme. I did have my realization. I've had spiritual awakenings that are very profound, and I naturally, it's only natural you're going to weave them into your narrative, and people, cause that's why I kind of laugh about, well, it's got cheesy zombies exploding jello, but there is a driving force behind that. That's obviously God. I can't do nihilism. I just need I need the warmth that I feel in my soul coming from the love from God's love through Jesus Christ, or how as I understand it to be. Is really the driving force behind a lot of this crazy stuff. And people look at the morbidity of it and say, well, how can that be? I say, I don't know. Ask Alice Cooper, ask Hieronymus Bosch, ask established people who dealt with the macabre and the morbid. And I ask myself quite often, how much should I really be enjoying horror? How much should I be enjoying playing Dead Island and smashing zombies for some kicks? How much of this? I deal with this question, and I search for answers and through my work, and I think I'm being shaped gradually to understand how it all comes into play. And I think if nothing else, I just can't create its stories without the struggle of good and evil, and I just have a lot of fun exploring evil in a fun way that is displaced from the evils in reality, where we can kind of enjoy evil in a silly way that is totally fake. No one's getting hurt. That's what I often say. There's a fine line separating, and understand this, you young kids who are lashing out and loving death metal and all this stuff, there is a very fine line between real life horror, which is totally uncool, and fake horror, which can be a very beautiful and wonderful thing. Look at Dario Argento. Look at Michele Soavi. Look at Eli Roth. Look at all the fun and laughter I got from watching people getting brutally butchered because it's not real. It's really absurd and ludicrous, but it's just brilliant storytelling, and even has reflections of Eli Roth. I will say, reflections of society and human nature and human behavior and the fall of humanity. There's a lot to unpack. People just cast it off as pointless nonsense. I'm just like, well, you just don't like to think too much. I mean, there's a lot of trash to be found in it. But anyway, let me get back on topic here. I was really trying to find help, and I realized that the only place I was going to find this, I had to just keep it close to home. Well, who am I going to ask? I said I just had a few friends, and the Hatfield family was a complete blessing. Just the way Ben jumped in, and even his family wanted to help, and how nurturing and supportive and great they were. Now, bearing in mind, for all you self-righteous types, the Hatfield family is a incredibly wholesome, a Christian family, to the point where I kind of feel guilty taking my love of horror around them. They're very good people, good and positive people. And so it's amazing to me that they would be so into this idea. And I think Ben really got it, and so did his family. And that was just completely awesome. So thank you, Hatfields. And of course, the friends I called on, I had the long distance friends, Myron showing up the way he did, me while portraying the Japanese business executive. Ted was amazing. I interrupted his vacation. He was with his lady, and they were on vacation, and I interrupted it, and they just took a few minutes out to help me with that scene. So the sound is horrible, but I don't, to me, it's still just amazing. They were hanging out in that hotel. I want to say, what was it, like Venice, Florida or something? If I'm messing that up, I'm sorry, but yeah, that was that. We had, the Hatfield girls did portray. I thought it was so cool because these characters are from the Giblets books I wrote prior to this. Now that was a 6-month project. Check it out. The Giblets Compendium Volume 1 has all nine books compiled into it. The others are on Kindle. The first two books are on paperback, but I say just get the compendium. And there was a treehouse in it, and which did not exist, but a lot of it was kind of inspired by our actual area. And the Hatfield girls, their father Ben had made them a treehouse, which was very, very close. Not quite, of course. It didn't have the gag of the bathroom bucket that showed up in the story that came into play when a troublesome headless zombie was invading, and that combined with the bathroom bucket became a toilet humor joke that I'm very still proud of. Anyway, yeah, we had the treehouse, and they were up for it and got into it and helped and portrayed Emily's friends, and that was just totally rad. And my brother's showing up and doing as good as they did, and Drew's lady Mary just did brilliantly. Did some beautiful scenes with her and Emily. I just love. I couldn't be happier with. So the sound of this film was not great. I mean, for technical aspects, if you really want to know, I'm going to tell you my secrets right now. I'm actually speaking into it right now. My friend Aaron Rickert got me this boom mic that I have lined into this handheld H1 handy recorder. I see it used a lot. I think Lao Wai, the expat that went to China and then came back, yeah, I've seen him use this in some of his videos, I think. And I use my iPhone to for filming a tripod. Excuse me. Sorry. Daggone, that's not good. That's not good for the commentary. Pardon me. Okay. Yes, and I edit on Vegas Movie Studio. Excellent. Highly recommended. I mean, it doesn't do all the fancy schmancy big wow stuff, but it does all the stuff you would want to do with fancy film. I mean, excuse me, with I don't know, practical filmmaking, nothing too excessive or over the top, not all the special effects, but if the green screen stuff, it's superb for. And changing the lighting, I loved that. I had some colored light bulbs, and then I just realized, well, Vegas changes the light. It just does some great things. And excuse me. For music, I create music with Fruity Loops and I mix it down with Audacity. So there you go. Any other things I should share? Yeah, Myron once again. I went to high school with him. One of the most impressive and nicest dudes. There are those guys who had God in them and were just doing great. I was down in the muck. I was down in the muck mentally, and I had been just so beaten down. But I saw these guys and reached out to some of them who had just been really good dudes. That goes for Teddy. My friend Brent, I invited him. He was too busy. Brent was too busy, but God bless him and his family. I ended up incidentally last summer. I went to the Outer Banks with my brothers and my family, and ended up it was my old high school friend Brent Anderson's wife's mother's property, and there's a picture of Brent and his family there. All this excessive detail. Brent didn't make it. Maybe next time. I think I should wrap here. I really didn't want this to go on too long, and if it has, then you're going to be hearing this on a feature on my Rumble or YouTube page, because I don't want this to go on too long, and I've probably done that. So anyway, but I do want to just say, for those of you wondering what's next, I am going to do I'm going to start working on the Decayed Network shorts web series. Ranging from a minute to 10 minutes or whatever. That is my goal. Same idea as if I mentioned this previously in the other video, I can't remember. Then sorry for repeating myself, but very excited about that. This is the last big project I'm basically ever going to do. Everything's going to be small installments, and will be, if I compile a full movie of shorts, that could happen. This is just too draining, too time consuming. I'm out of shape from sitting on my bedroom floor. We had a pipe burst in our basement. I had to move my office up here. It's just a project like this, this is it, unless a producer wants to help me make one of my bigger visions come to life. Otherwise, those will be limited to comics. The stuff I can't do on film. If anyone wants to invest, if you're listening, hey, but I mean, doubt that'll happen. The media field is, of course, it has been overflowed. Is that a word? That's it. Once again, I leave you with a thank you to all the people that helped on this. Oh, I forgot John Bevins. I didn't even mention John Bevins, who invested his music in here. John's an amazing guy. He's a total comedian. One of maybe the funniest guy I've ever met. Hilarious. And he showed up and saved the day. And thank you, John. His music is amazing. You heard the Britches song. He did the Emily's Dream sequence music. I didn't want to cut the music down, so I extended that dream scene. Actually, no, it fit in just right with the footage I had. It ran a little long, but it was worth it for the music and the footage. It just felt right. This is obviously the director's cut, because no producer is overshadowing me. I am the so-called producer, and I have final say. So the final cut, it's a long movie, but hey, I'm cool with that. And yeah, John showing up as the job interviewer was just totally awesome. Great experience. Everything was a great experience. Working with Ben. Ben and his family, just my brothers, just love it. Anyway, God bless y'all. I'm gonna book. Take care.